So, time for patch 7.11, big ticket champions. Rek'Sai, Kindred, Malzahar. Okay, so let's just get into it. Rek'Sai, ultimate now launches her at a target she's recently damaged. Tunnels can be re-entered more quickly. Base damage is down, scaling up. Okay. Health growth stat down a little bit. Okay, it's not a big deal. What is that? 5 health, 8 per level. Small nerf, not the worst thing in the world, but it is a bit significant. It's like 185 health, I believe, if I'm doing my math right. I can check right now. So Fury Generation, Broad Health Generation takes more quickly, but Max Gen is down. So this is actually quite nice, just off of what this says, because oftentimes you won't have, it'll take too long for you to get all of your Fury back after, like, while kiting caps, so you'll have to only use up, like, 60 or 80 of it, and you won't get the full heal off, so that's nice. 25 for all attacks and unburrowed abilities. Okay, so you charge it really, really fast. And it ticks faster, but it's severely nerfed late game, which is probably fine because Rek'Sai is more like you don't really use the regeneration like later much at all anyway, so that's fine. Base damage down at later ranks. Ooh, 0.4 bonus attack damage. Yeah, this just incentivizes you to do at least Tiamat, but probably like Titanic every game now. Maybe not just in solo queue, and maybe Warrior now. Jury's still out on that one, but we'll see. I think Warrior might be worth it now, because this will have an 80 ratio too, right? So that's a completely new ratio, and let's see, so it's converted to physical damage now, the Q. So new ratio, new ratio, new ratio on R. This is also bonus now instead of total. So scales up less with level and just leveling EN with level in general. So yeah, further incentivizing AD. Primary target still knocked up, others are knocked back. Interesting. Well, they killed the base damage on this. This is not that big a deal. Generally max it last anyway. 0.5 to 1 second knockup. Okay, so now it's always a 1 second knockup, but it's knocked back to the other enemies. So at least like Yasuo and stuff can still top of this, so it's not the worst thing in the world. Only the knocked up target is granted immunity from further knockups. Okay, so that's pretty good too. It's just like a bunch of single target knockups in fights now, so it's okay. Immunity duration 10 at all ranks. Okay, so we're just even further incentivizing maxing E second, which I think is how it should be. Maxing W second was super cancerous. It was really only for full tank, and it made Rek'Sai extremely unfun to play because maxing W second, you just felt like you did no damage. You were literally just a knockup bot, which is very unsatisfying to play. And oh, you can interact by hitting them on burrow. That's really nice too, because it's really annoying to have to like, because normally after you finish a camp you want to burrow, but then like if you want to go hit a plant, you just like you'd have to re-unburrow and it takes extra time, and then you hit it, and then you have to unburrow again because you want to start the camps up with the knockup. So that's really nice. Base damage scales up bonus AD. No longer scales linearly with Fury. Full Fury cast still deal double damage. Oh, that kind of sucks. Because that just means like it's still the same when you're maxed it, but you're losing damage. You're losing damage if you're casting it without like max Fury, obviously. But before, like, you just got free damage if you had any Fury, rather than now you only get the true damage at the double at max. So like it's really incentivizing you to hit max when you use it now, but because it charges so much faster now, I think it's not as big a deal. Because every basic attack, right? Yeah, all attacks. So just 4 hit, just the auto Q Q Q into E, it would fully charged for that E. So it's not too bad, I guess. If it was old, like if it was like the old Fury generation, it'd probably be a problem. But with this, it's not too bad. Burrowed E, tunnel creation, reentry. Nice. That's just a straight buff. 2 seconds. That's actually insane. And because you're maxing E second now, like pretty much every time, this is really nice. And Void Rush. Passively marks as prey. Okay. Targets a preyed enemy burrowing after 0.356 time. Holy shit. Unstoppable. Plus miss it and execute. Holy. So at the very end, if someone flashes, you just like cue them into R. That's really nice. I think Rek'Sai is going to be really good. This is a... These are pretty much all in... Like, this really hurts. They made it pretty clear that they're trying to force Rek'Sai into a more damage-oriented role. Because new AD scaling, bonus AD scaling instead now, new AD scaling, and boosted scaling, but they've cut some of her health down. So I'm thinking you might just go Warrior now. You might be really squishy in the early game, but like with all these AD ratios, it might be just better to YOLO Warrior. We'll see though. Okay, so Kindred. Passive stacks increase Kindred's attack range, amplify their abilities. Okay. Attack damage growth 1.7. Okay, that's pretty big. That's actually so much. That's like a full AD every 2 levels. That's really nice. Her AD is like really low at base, so that's definitely an appreciated buff. Okay. They're likely to deal base percent. Okay. That's really nice. Because Kindred just got really oppressive, like really fast if she snowballed. Like, you just couldn't like tank her anymore. She just destroyed you too fast. But if she didn't get the stacks, she was like super useless, so she became like so feast or famine that it's very hard to balance that. So I think that's a good change. Basic attacks of Mounting Dread gains 75 range at 4 stacks, plus 25 range every 4 stacks thereafter. Okay, so I think this is good. I'm assuming from reading this, you don't get the stacks until you hit 4. You don't get the range until you hit 4, which is good. Because it's kind of hard to deny the first few, so if she just got like instant range at the start, she'd probably be like super busted. I was actually kind of worried when I heard about this, like thinking like she'd be played like 80 or something, because like the first couple stacks are usually quite easy to get. But now that, because it seems like you need 4, then that's probably not going to be the case. So stacks amplify Kindred's basic abilities. Q bonus attack speed increased by an additional 5% per stack, no longer increases base damage. Okay. Current health damage increased by an additional 0.5% per stack. Okay. And missing health damage increased. Oh, interesting. So they kind of move like percent damage to like the other abilities. Okay, I think that's more healthy. 10% attack speed for 4 seconds on cast, plus an additional 5% per mark of the Kindred stack. Interesting. So, yeah, just reinforcing the notion she's like a very high attack speed, very mobile champion. Okay, I'm okay with this. Total attack to bonus attack. Ooh, okay. I guess that makes sense. That's probably a buff overall, and the dash speed went up too. Okay. Okay, so Wolf's Frenzy deals additional damage based on current enemy health. Kindred can choose where to cast Wolf's Frenzy. Okay, so it's not going to self-cast anywhere, including over walls, hunting zone radius. Okay, that's a pretty nice change, because you can, now you have the option to put it anywhere else too, but you could still self-cast it, which is nice. It's just, you just have more choices, so that's just a net buff. Additional 0.5, holy, but they went the, okay, so we switched to bonus and it's magic damage. Interesting. Very interesting. The few Kindreds I did see, some of them went like Cleaver, and you just like instantly stacked it with this old W, so I guess that's nice, because it seems like it'd be really oppressive if it was physical because of how fast Wolf stacks shit on you. And also it's like you can get out of it, but like when if you're next to her, like you have to tank it, so you just got like armor shredded like super fast. So they don't let you do that anymore. And just new damage. Okay, that's she's gonna hurt. Holy shit. There's additional damage based on missing enemy health and crits low health enemies. So like kind of like Pantheon. Below 15% health for 50%. Threshold by 45%. Holy. Okay, so they really want Kindred to just build full damage items, because she's got like new like bonus AD scalings. She gets a bunch of free attack speed. And she's got a crit scaling now. Holy shit. Threshold up to 65% health at 100% crit chance. Jesus. So yeah, she's definitely like crit focused, attack speed focused now. Crit AD focused. Like no like frozen mallet. Like I guess you could still do Blade of the Ruined King, but like definitely just like providing incentive to build like a pretty like a crit AD carry would like maybe not IE. I think IE is a bit too expensive for junglers, but like maybe like a Shiv or a Rapid Rush or probably Hurricane Rush actually. What am I saying? Yeah, definitely gonna be Hurricane Rush. I don't know if you'd still go Blood Razor. Hard to say. I'm not really a huge Kindred player, but seems like she's gonna have a really strong one-item spike with Runons now. So missing health damage. Okay. No longer deals 5% of maximum health. That's missing health. So yeah, this is more of an execute now. Okay, which seems pretty in line with the kit. The execute is the slow. Get people down with W first with its percent damage, and chasing with Q giving you attack speed. So yeah, thematically makes sense. Base damage, pretty gutted, but probably necessary with this fucking passive. Oh, it's only Wolf's attacks critically strike targets. Okay, that's not as insane as I thought, but it's still not bad at all. Point aim bonus attack damage, missile speed up. Wow, that's a lot of attack damage. They really want people to not build like Mallet and tank. They're really incentivizing full damage crit, which I think is good. This champion's really cancerous if she gets tanky. Overall, this champion looks like she'll be decent again. A lot of like small QOL changes, like dash speed increase, missile speed increased, change to magic damage, and like this doesn't have to be self cast anymore. So just a bunch of QOL fixes, and obviously the stacking range thing. I don't think it'll be as broken as people think, but it's nice. It's definitely better than before, where it was literally just she got early stacks and she killed everyone, or she didn't and she was just kind of useless. Her really low base damages just didn't really she couldn't really do anything really. So yeah, now she's got pretty good. She's got a lot of bonus AD scalings that are pretty high, and obviously this Jaws of Death passive and an execute. So yeah, her identity's been cleaned up a lot. I'm glad they didn't touch her ultimate. I think the ultimate's very unique. And she's got also the base attack damage growth. So unsure if she'll be good. She'll definitely be viable. I think with this kit, like there's no real way for her not to be viable. As far as being like a top tier jungler though, hard for me to say. I'm not a huge fan of Kindred. Obviously I played her when she was busted along with Nidalee, more out of necessity than anything though. Seems pretty good though. These are a lot of really nice changes. Yeah. So Malzahar, Q, E, and R deal more damage. Whoa, that off the bat sounds very scary. W spawns Voidlings based on Malzahar's spellcast. Voidlings are less threatening early. Okay. Yes. Alright, updated. Void Swarm costs 49 seconds, so long it gains a charge. Stack of Gathering Swarm when you cast another ability. Okay. Summons a Voidling plus an additional Voidling per stack of Gathering Swarm. Okay. Voidlings no longer able to spawn additional Voidlings, low cast range. Okay. So this seems like Malzahar support's dead. Alright, maybe not dead, but like... yeah, probably dead, honestly. Let me just read everything else here. I'm not going to read the Voidling stats. Actually, maybe I will. Just going to gloss over these. They die faster. Movement speed decrease. No longer changes situationally. Okay, yeah. They no longer lose movement speed when they're away, but they no longer gain movement speed when running to things. Okay, so yeah. Malzahar's support, just killing people with Voidlings. Probably dead. Call of the Void. Cast time reduced. Okay. Post-cast delay before firing. Huh. I feel like that's kind of a nerf. Although I guess like it's kind of necessary. Like this thing is like a really cancer spell because there's no really juking it or missing. It's kind of just like he casts like he hits you or he doesn't, and it's all like up to him because of the nature of the skill shot. At least they lowered the cast time to compensate for giving it a cast delay, but I'm pretty sure that's a nerf. Like, it's like a necessary nerf because it's like a really dumb spell. It's extremely binary. Like spells where like they cast and it's up to them like whether they hit it or not. Like your juking doesn't really do anything. Those are just dumb spells, but like yeah, at least they gave a cast time like reduction to compensate for a bit. Ratio up, beam damage, flat magic damage. Oh, okay, that's good. Because yeah, Mazar's R is pretty, yeah, it's kind of just binary because I'm pretty sure it's all like no zone damage. So if like they got like displaced off of the zone somehow, he just did like 0 damage with his ultimate, which felt like terrible. So they moved part of it into like the beam and part of it onto the null zone. Way worse at shredding tanks, but way better at blowing up squishies. I'm not so sure how I feel about this. I still don't think Malzahar will really be viable in the mid lane, but he was definitely a cancerous support to play against. Like there's just very little counterplay to him when he was strong. Like you couldn't even peel off like the void links properly. There was no real way to do it, and when he hit 6, he kind of just flash comboed someone, and it was peace out if the AD carry had any sort of real follow up. So I don't think this changes too much. Malzahar's support had already kind of fallen out of meta, but I don't think this will really push him back into viability or anything in the mid lane. I don't think Malzahar has really changed. I just think his kit is kind of odd. I don't really think he'll ever be. I feel like he'll always be a champion where if his numbers are good enough, he'll be picked. But if they're not, he'll probably just never see the light of day. Just kind of how his kit works, in my opinion. His only really unique thing is his suppress, and I guess he's got a silence, which is pretty rare nowadays. But they made his silence a bit less reliable. It's still probably really easy to hit, even with this post cast delay. But his most valuable ability after Void Things got nerfed was definitely his not counting his ultimate. Honestly, even probably even counting his ultimate because of how unreliable his ultimate is and how often it got you killed. Yeah, I don't think Malzahar will be very good. We'll see though. Okay, RE. So now I'll take the non-reworks, ratio down, max ratio down, charm up. Okay, yeah, this is I've already started to see less REs, but she's quite oppressive when she gets ahead in the sense that she kind of just R's towards you, especially if they have the Gunblade build. They kind of just R towards you, and they hit you with all these targeted spells, and you could literally like juke everything, but like if they were ahead enough, they kind of just killed you without hitting you with anything, which is like one of the worst feelings in League. So I'm glad they lowered these ratios. I think they actually could have pushed this to 0.7 to almost like fully compensate, or at least like 0.65 to like compensate fully, because she's losing it like per wisp, like 0.1 per wisp, which is a pretty big fall, like a pretty big loss in ratio, and like charm is already like the ability like that decides like a good art from a bad one. If you hit the like you have all the tools, you should almost always have tools to do charm, and if you get hit by it, it's kind of like your fault. So I feel like having it have a pretty good ratio is pretty fair, in exchange for trimming ratios off of WNR. But I'm not complaining. I think these are okay. RE's just kind of not been as popular recently in my games. I don't know what happened. Like about like a month, 2 months ago, I was seeing her like in almost every game. It seems like she's given way to Orianna as the kind of every game. Orianna and Syndra as the like every game mid laner. I don't think she's got great matchups into those, so that's probably why I've seen her less. I'm not convinced this was necessary, but as far as like the validity of it, like just the nerf itself, like it's a fine nerf. That's probably like the best way to go about it. Caitlyn, Runon's Hurricane, bolts no longer stack headshot. Boy. Okay, level bonus attack speed, base attack speed down, this is up, attack speed level 1 unchanged. Runon's bolts. So There's definitely a pretty big hit to team fighting with Caitlyn, where you got off headshots like so fast, especially if you were fighting in like barren bushes or you had like an Ivern to just headshot people from. This is definitely justified. Caitlyn was already she's extremely oppressive in lane phase, and she's extremely oppressive late game because of traps and her range. So she didn't really need the Hurricane headshot interaction, and it kind of just made her even more oppressive late game when she's already like got so much excess utility in traps that make it so hard to fight in certain areas or siege. And when you add it to account, like she's got headshot off traps, she got headshot off E, and she stacks it like instantly with Rudons. It was just like too much. She was literally just headshotting people like every 2-3 autos, or not like if you were hitting like E headshots and trap headshots, you were headshotting literally just every auto attack, which is ridiculous. And like it's already pretty difficult to get to her because of her range. You needed a champion who had instant CC, and you needed someone who had enough damage to follow up that, or a champion who could follow up themselves, like something like Syndra. But the thing is, like Syndra's like stun is like conditional. It's like a skill shot, and yeah, you could like triple Q and then like R and she'd die if she didn't have MR. But Syndra's not exactly like the paragon of balance either. So like all in all, there was pretty low counterplay to Caitlyn for a lot of champions. So I think this is more than justified. She'll still be fine. Maybe not picked as much, but all in all, it definitely is a nerf, but it's not like she still has her strengths of lane phase, like bully and late game trap utility, and she's still an AD carry who has a dash or whatever, like jump, whatever, which is always going to be valuable. You know, like some AD carries like Ashe, Varus, etc. They just don't have that, and it's sometimes very difficult to survive without it. So I think she'll be fine. Dr. Mundo. Super durable dudes. Attack damage, growth stat 3.5. Burning agony. Okay, yeah. Not much is going to change. Mundo is still a terrible champion. This is only 5 damage per second. Kind of compensates for Sunfire, but it's not enough to really push Mundo into any sort of viability. His champion just has too many flaws. He's not going to change at all. High latency players can ward hop. Can be buffered when placing wards, allowing Mason quickly. Okay, cool. All these Latin American, maybe now all these Latin American players in my games can actually ward hop. Lucian, Q mana cost up. That's a significant trade off. Essence Reaver, SV. Okay, that's more than fair. That's a steep jump though. Like 20 more mana per cost, and you're queuing like 2 or 3 times every wave. Ooh, yeah, that's gonna hurt mid lane Lucian a lot. Because he's usually off in side lane splitting, whereas like AD carry Lucian is usually like at least with like a support once you rotate out in like the mid game. So obviously it'll hurt both. Pretty fair change. I think if you hit Lucian's damage too much, he just becomes unviable. And if you hit his mana cost in lane to the point where he can't bully, then he's also like not really viable because he has to kind of get ahead to function as a champion just because of the nature of his low range. So I think this is fair. Do I think it'll put him in line? I don't think he's too far from balanced. He's just really oppressive in solo queue when he's ahead just because the way his kit functions is that he destroys a lot of terrible champions. And in competitive, you don't really see terrible champions get picked, but in like solo queue, you'll see terrible champions. I don't know, like Heimerdinger or like Wallabear, who can just get outplayed for days by Lucian. So yeah, Lucian's always kind of be a relatively tough champion to balance for solo queue, just because of the nature of how he plays. He's got so much room for outplays, and champions who have to try to avoid getting kited or we're just gonna have a bad time against him. But I think this is more than fair. I don't know if it'll bring him in line, but it's fair for sure. Sunfire Cape Fallout buff, okay. Passive health down, health scaling up, sapling speed and AP scaling down. Nice. Brush sapling duration increases with bonus health instead of ability level. Okay. Cooldown. Okay. Helps him survive in lane. Definitely needed. Top lane Maokai's pretty trash right now. But they hit the base healing by cutting it in half. Jeez. Percent healing. Oh, okay, they buffed the percent healing. Okay, well, just incentivizes building tank on Maokai. That's good. 1% targets maximum health. Ooh, 400 changed based on Maokai's boots. Ooh. Okay. Well, it's basically just a straight nerf because it's 425 plus 2.5 per level, and it's base 400 now, so it's weaker before boots, and it's still weaker at boots. Most upgraded boots 445 swiftness. So yeah, it's pretty much a straight nerf, which is good. AP Maokai support is extremely cancerous. 67% of detonation, 2 ticks, so damage unchanged. Okay. Brush sapling duration 30. Okay, that's really good. So this basically will kill AP Maokai support. I don't think he's going to be good top lane, unfortunately. I think there's too much power in his saplings. And he's just so gimmicky now. That I just don't think I don't think he's very good. I don't think there's ever a reason to pick him over Gragas and like Galio, etc. I just don't think he's got enough in his kit after they took so much power from his W in his Q, and he's not super tanky anymore. Like his R is also just crowd control. Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing much of Maokai. He was kind of a champion who was like good based on the fact that his numbers were a bit oppressive. He was always going to be difficult to kill because of his ultimate, but since they've taken like the damage out of his ultimate, the damage reduction out of his ultimate, he's just been in trouble. I don't think he can survive top lane. There's just too much. They just siphon too much power out of his other abilities and into his E, which is just too gimmicky. I don't think he's in a good spot. They're probably gonna have to find some other way to balance him. With the way his current kit stacks up, I think he's just way too prone to being outplayed and just pushed out of lane just because of the fact that he doesn't have the base damages and stats to hang anymore with the Q and W nerfs. And he can't compensate with it by like his R was like if you were behind, it like helped you out a lot because like it's just like percent damage reduction that's always there, but now he doesn't even have that. So yeah, I don't think Maokai will be good. But at least they removed AP Maokai support, which is very, very difficult to play against. Much changes. Okay, Renekton back to normal. That's good. They like kind of ruined his animation cancels and made it all funky. Like he was super busted in this patch, and he was like, wait, he was terrible in 7.10, but he was super busted in 7.9. Did I read the W leasing with quick self cast? Yeah, no longer works with quick self cast. I never quick self cast setting. I hope that's not what it sounds like. I do Alt W a lot. I'll just see. Like Riot kind of words some of this shit poorly. We'll see. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Okay, so Sunfire Cape follow-up buffs. Oh man, that's pretty good. I don't think Sion will be good, but he's probably better than Maokai now, honestly. Like Maokai is just not in a good spot. Sion was already like pretty edge of like viability. I don't think this is like the buff that puts him over the top, but it's definitely nice. That's 2% at every rank, plus 2 seconds cooldown at every rank. Like that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Much less troll to pick Sion top now. W area of effect reduced. Thank God. Yeah, force of will is pretty hard to miss. Like he did. Yeah, this is so true. This is so true. Like there's way too many ganks where like Syndra just like Qs into picks it up, W's you, and then you're at like 10 movement speed and you get E'd because you literally can't dodge at that movement speed. And this thing was so fat that it's like impossible to miss. Like it wasn't as bad as like Malzahar Q where it's literally like they put it on you and either they put it on you properly or they suck and they miss it somehow because it's not really dodgeable and then you die. Because like once you get hit by this, like you're getting hit by the E, and if you're getting hit by the E, that means you're getting Q'd again, and that means you're getting R'd, and that means you're dead. So it's like, yeah, this is a very good change. Because the way Syndra works is that if she doesn't have the damage to one-shot people, she's just a terrible champion. So hitting her damage isn't really a good way to balance her. it's a bit better. It's better to cut out like the extraneous power that makes her like consistent first, and force like the players to like actually land like things, which is what this change does. Do I think Syndra will be balanced yet? Hard to say, but this is a lot bigger nerf than people will think initially. Because I'm sure a bunch of people will go like, oh my god, they hit her fucking W AoE instead of hitting her R damage or something. But like in reality, like the way this champion works is that if she can't blow someone up, then she's really, really, really bad. Like she has to be able to like blow at least one person up, or she's like really, really bad. So giving her like you have more tools to outplay her now, but like obviously you still have to respect her ult. So I think this will do a lot more than people think. Hard to say whether she'll be like fully balanced yet, but this will do a lot more than people think. Yasuo is on the cusp of too powerful, mid-season cost reduction and crit, pushing him over the edge. Reducing the amount of pressure he exerts by sitting on Q stacks. Okay, that's good. His Q stacks last way too long. Like 10 seconds is ridiculous, considering the fact that the ability has like a 1.3 second cooldown at max, and like early on it's like a 4-second cooldown, or like maybe even like 3.5 really. Like once you're like a few levels in, because I'm pretty sure most Yasuo's run attack speed now. So yeah, this is good. It'll definitely hurt. Like 4 seconds is pretty big. Like, but yeah, this is actually probably a bit bigger than most people will notice initially. I think you got to kind of play Yasuo to understand it. Because like if Yasuo gets like juked in a fight now, like it's like 1 or 2 Qs, like maybe one gets flashed, the other one gets juked, and he loses his stacks, then he has to hit like 2 more again before he gets tornado. So it definitely punishes like the bad Yasuos who whiff a ton of Qs. Yeah, land your Qs. Good change. I'm not convinced Yasuo was overbearing, but he was towing the line for sure. And this has been like around for like a long time. The saturation is so long to the point where like you couldn't even like juking Yasuo's Q to not give him access to tornado wasn't even really like a viable option, just because like at the 10-second stack duration with like 1.3 second cooldown, which most Yasuo's max out, like that's their first goal to max out. You had to juke so many Qs to not give him charge for tornado that it just like wasn't even viable to even do. So that now this gives you like a new avenue to like outplay Yasuo, which is nice. Because just in general, he's a champion built on like outplaying you and you outplaying him, and this just adds like more to that. Yeah, it sucks for like Yasuo players, but honestly, like 6 seconds is still quite a long time considering it's like a 1.3 second cooldown at max attack speed, max attack speed for the Q. So like you still have plenty of time to get a tornado off. And if those 4 extra seconds is what separates you from not getting a tornado off and getting a tornado off, then you probably need to work on your Q accuracy. So I think it's a fine change. E warning indicator shows up earlier. Thank God. That's so cancerous right now. You almost have no time to react to that if you have higher ping. Points. Okay, a full 0.35 seconds extra. That means a lot. That actually does mean a lot. Health threshold. Okay. With a max health scaling, we added the initial strike. 710 patch stretching is doing too much damage. You ship additional base nerfs halfway through the patch. Okay, holy shit, that was 120? Jeez. That's ridiculous. They reduced it by 50. 10 per rank, and he was still oppressive. That's insane. They need to hit this champion again, though. There's no way this makes him balanced. Because this was already in. They definitely need to hit him again. He's way too strong at the moment. I don't know. The problem is, I'm not sure what you'd hit, honestly. Because, like, the way his kit works is, like, he has to do, like, no damage. Or he's, like, not going to be balanced. Because he's got way too much crowd control on his kit right now. Especially once he gets CDR. Because the Q is a ridiculous CC. His E is a ridiculous CC. They're both really spammable once you have crowd control. And his R has the potential to just wipe a team. And he's got percent damage on W, too. So it's, like... And he heals a bunch with the blobs, and like when he flattens out with the R and catches all his blobs, it's like a huge burst of healing. Like it's just ridiculous. I don't know if they're gonna balance his champion, but he's definitely staying on the Burman Man list. There's no way this is enough to make him balanced. I feel like the best way to hit him is probably hit his E damage. He's just like, it's fine for him to have like a ton of like utility in CC, but if he does, he's gotta be either squishier or do less damage himself. Because it's so easy to get fed on him because of how easy it is for his ganks to succeed, and once he gets ahead, his base damage is just murder people because of his percent damage on his W and his base damage on his E. So probably the best way to hit him is like hit his E damage because that's what gets maxed first, and then he'll struggle more to clear. So like he'll have to rely more on his utility rather than his utility and his base damages to like get him through. So you actually have like a window to like go after him in the jungle. But right now you don't have much counterplay available to him. He's just too strong. Okay, this is fine. It's really annoying playing Rakan and hearing all the lines, and like you know that it's warded when you hear his line. That was really stupid. Rip Abyssal. Banshee's video cost increased, magic resist increased. Good change. This item's way too cheap. People were just rushing it and not getting punished because it's so cheap and it gives you so much. Okay. Gives more MR. Okay. I'm okay with that. Nah, the cost got increased. I think that's okay. I still think this item is a bit too good, but I think it's a bit too good, but I don't think it's like super oppressive after this nerf. The problem is it was just too cheap. Like it was just like a free rush, or just like a free like quick third item or 4 item, rather than like, cause like it's so hard to get like a death cap, but like this item was just so cheap that it's like you win, like even after like if you didn't get it in lane, you kind of picked it up like second or third or like maybe even fourth, and you're just like it's so cheap that you just get to it really fast and then you go into your like late game item. Blade of the Ruined King. Okay, that's definitely fair. I thought that lifesteal buff going from like, it was like 10 before, wasn't it? Up to like 15 when they buffed Blade so many patches ago. I thought that was ridiculous. I think that definitely brings it more in line. Ripple GA icon. Basic attack damage reduction. Yeah, that's fair. Tabi was too strong. 2% might not seem like a lot, but like when you consider like the fact that like 2% when you like math it out is not that much, but when you math it out like based on like whatchamacallit, based on how much percent like the item has that it's losing, that's actually like very significant. It's definitely justified. Ninja Tabi are a bit too strong right now. I thought they would hit the price of it, but I'm not too opposed to hitting the basic attack damage reduction instead. 12 was a bit too high. It'll still be good. I think this is a pretty fair nerf. Like the item will still be good, but at the same time, it's a bit less oppressive. I'm pretty happy they didn't hit the gold cost, because hitting the gold cost, oh shit, hitting the gold cost might have made it unviable if they went too overboard on it, and then you just don't have any armor. You don't have any good armor options for the early game. So I think that's more than fair. Combined costs decreased. Okay, that doesn't really change anything. Playing against the champion. Okay. Is so grand gold. Okay, that's whatever. Muted floating combat text anymore. Okay, that's fine. No one's in rank. 10 champ ban phase, starting with normal draft at NA, agency and ban phase. NA normal draft only, so I'm not gonna go over this. It's not even ranked yet. Split draft pick fan base. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. So people can. Ooh, interesting, interesting. Nice. So now you can do 10 ban and scrim 10 ban without having to use third-party websites. That's very nice. Moving one barrier. Invited players have invite privileges by default. Okay, that's whatever. Bots of Doom, new client update, notable fixes. Okay. Okay, bug fixes. That tries to drop them in huge. Okay. Darius triggers Noxian Might. Properly only stacks. Okay. Blinded by crit portion. Just trying to see if any oh, that's actually a pretty big nerf to Hecarim. There's a thing really good Hecarim players would do is they'd like as they were chasing people down a lane, if there was minions that were about to die, they would charge it and you would still go forward with the charge, but it wouldn't consume your charge if you did it at the right time as the minion died. So you would charge forward, but you'd still have charge, and then you'd hit the guy with their charge. That was actually like a super hard mechanic to look out for on Hecarim, but when you got it, it was like super broken and devastating. Okay. Tandem recall. Okay. Visual bugs with Counter Strike. Okay. 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 And alright, and Chemtech Trainer, what the hell? Alright, so yeah, overall, I think Rek'Sai will be good. Let's just run down real fast. I think Rek'Sai will be good. Kindred, probably good too. Malzahar, probably no change. Ahri, good change. Probably still picked in the same situations. Same thing with Caitlyn. Good nerf, probably still picked in the same situations. Still a fine champion. Still a terrible champion. Congrats, hyping players. Justified, doesn't change too much. Will definitely hurt people who don't run mana regen runes or meditation. Same champion. Rip support, probably still a bad top laner. Good change. These two patches were a mess for Indepth players. Might be good. Might actually be good. Might actually be good. Hard to say. But this is actually a way bigger buff than it might look initially. Great change. Still good, but we'll separate people who pick Syndra because she's broken rather a lot more than we'll separate average Syndra players from really good Syndra players. You still have the really you still can W into E, which is like devastating, but you actually have to be like decent at hitting skill shots to hit it now, which is great. So same kind of thing, same kind of concept. If you're really good at Yasuo, it shouldn't affect you at all, except in edge cases. If you're bad at Yasuo, good luck at McDonald's. Zac still busted. I can't believe they didn't hit him with a real damage nerf, or some sort of utility nerf. That I honestly can't believe that this champion is staying on the permaban list. Whatever, good change, whatever, good change, whatever, and yeah, that's about it. Dawn would do that with Smite. Why don't I think Diana remains in touch? Because she's super cancerous if you know how to combo with her, because of the fact that she like one shots you in like 2 seconds flat. It's the same reason Old Town was super cancerous. It's the reason like Old Town really never got buffed either, because like if he was ahead, he just one shot you instantly and there's like zero counterplay. And it's the same thing with Diana. I guess you could dodge Diana Q, but if she flash point blank Qs you into double R, there's still no counterplay. If you watch like S Diana 2 player or like Arcsecond when they get fed, it's super oppressive, like almost like Syndra level of oppressive. But probably even worse because you don't even get hit by a stun. And there's like no real like warning either. Like the most warning you'll get in advance is like she walks into R range of you, or she like throws Q and hits you with it or something, which is like still like not enough because of how fast her combo is. Just like QRR killing people is just ridiculous. That champion probably needs some sort of rework to start getting buffs, just because that champion is, I wouldn't say poorly designed, but it's not a great design. Alright, so that's it for me. I'll be back on tomorrow at 10 a.m. For duo queue with Frosty, maybe even earlier. Yeah. This wasn't. I'm only really